He has served as a WIDC Vice Chairman and has also completed the GBC college training from its first batch. Current services are, along with being president of ISKCON Mira Road, he is also the member of the ILAC. He traveled extensively in South Gujarat, South Rajasthan, Punjab for preaching and guiding in setting up a standard Gurukul as envisioned by Srila Prabhupada. Education is his passion. So he identifies himself as a teacher of Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Saddarshan and other scriptures. So let us welcome His Grace Kamal Lochan Prabhu to Bhagavad Mahavidyalaya by loudly chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Gyat Virandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Purave Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavaiham Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakarnitamsya Namavam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatta Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Niti Namine Srivar Shabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdhaye Mandavi Dhaine Vainamaham Madhuryojjala Premadhya Sri Rupanaga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravirbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishtavas Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishtavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishay Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jaitam Surator Pangur Mamanda Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalvadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastav Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prashtrali Vissevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Swanir Gopir Gopinataha Shriyestunaha Aptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I have been asked to speak about the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the point of view of the four sampradayas, their distinctions and their uniquenesses and their relationships. So this is a very important subject matter because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established the deities of the Vaishnava Acharyas when he built the Gaudiya Math, the Caitanya Math. In the Chaitanya Math, when you go and see, have the darshan of Radha Gandharvika Giridhari, and then you go to go for the parikrama, then you find the deities of the four acharyas. This is one of the important things which have to be noticed in Chaitanya Math. Not only that, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, he invited scholars of the Madhva Sampradaya and made them stay in the Math for 2 years, more than 2 years rather, to teach his sannyasi disciples the Vedanta Sutras. So once Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was approached by one devotee, and he asked Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what is our connection with Ramanuja Sampradaya? And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur told, Sri Chaitanya Premier Mandir Bhitti Swarup. So the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu built the temple of love of God on the foundation of Ramanuja Sampradaya. Because these four Sampradaya Acharyas, as predicted in the Vedic literatures, Kalo Bhavishyanti Chatvaraha, in the age of Kali, 4 Sampradayas, 4 Acharyas will manifest. Ya Purushottame in Jagannath Puri. In the Ray of Vishnu book, it is described that how Purushottama, not all the 4 Acharyas are born in Purushottam Kshetra. But why Purushottam has been described? Because of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur appeared in Purushottam Kshetra. And it is Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur who is the embodiment of all the 4 Acharyas. So instead of seeing the 4 Sampradayas as different from the Gaudiya, we should see their oneness and not the difference, rather than uniqueness. There is a lot of contradiction between the 4 Vaishnava Acharyas' philosophy. But all the 4 Acharyas' philosophy, their contradictions, they are harmonized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Harmonization, which is technically known in the philosophical terms as Samanvaya, is very important for all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to learn. Because that is the first subject matter in philosophy, that is Samanvaya. When you read the Vedanta Sutras, the first chapter is what? Samanvaya Adhikarana. That is to harmonize. If we don't know to harmonize, then we are not actually Gaudiyas. That is why when the Gaudiyas go to Shiva Vaishnava temples and their practices, we have no problem. We are happy with that. We glorify, appreciate. When the Gaudiya Vaishnavas go to Madhva temples and their practices, we appreciate and we feel that we are at home. Even if you go to the Nimbarakas, or even if you go to Srinathji's, that is the Vallabhas, there also we feel at home, we glorify. But those Vaishnava Acharyas, these 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, these devotees, if they go to other Sampradaya, they find that a lot of difference. The extent of the fight between the Madhvas and the Sri Vaishnavas, you just cannot even imagine. The amount of fight they have among themselves. Philosophical fight, I'm not just talking about. When we say fight, it means actually philosophical fight. Both are right and they still fight. Both are right still. But they cannot see both are right. But it's only the Gaudiyas who can see that. Because we live in a house. Like when you build a house, then you have 4 pillars. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu built a beautiful house of Chaitanya Prema Mandir. This Prema Mandir of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is built on the foundation of these 4 Sampradayas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord. It is He who actually gave the philosophies to these 4 Acharyas. And though whether the other Sampradayika Acharyas in the Acharyas in their line and the devotees in their line, whether accept it or not, it is a fact. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has very nicely revealed in the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya about how the 4 Acharyas met Sri Chaitanya in his Aprakat Leela. Of course, 4 Acharyas appeared in different times and they all met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When did they meet? Of course, it is written dream, but actually it is not a dream, it is actual real meeting. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met them. And then these 4 Acharyas, he gave them the philosophy. When based on that, he gave the instruction and empowered them to write the Vedanta Sutras, commentary in Vedanta. And also gave 2 principles. And he told, I am going to take two principles back again. So I just spoke all these things just to make you understand that we are not here to prove that we are superior. We are here to prove that how we the Gaudiyas are the embodiment of the four sampradayas rather than calling ourselves superior and calling ourselves something different. Of course, there is a big sect of Gaudiyas who are against Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Of course, they practice Gaudiya principles very strictly and very nicely, but they accept that we are different from the Madhvas. So not recently, maybe 3 years back, there's one of the devotees. He is a brother of one of the congregation devotees in our temple. He's from Gaudiya Math. So he wrote one book called Kumat Kalanal. If you get some time, just read the book. There he has nicely refuted this philosophy, this kind of understanding that we are not Madhvas, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur many times we told we are followers of Madhva. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu also talks about this. Srimadva Praha Akilam Naivedyam. And then at the end, after mentioning the Navaprameyas, it says Sityupadishati Krishna Chaitanya Chandraha. This is the instruction which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, whatever Madhvacharya told. So just because of some one or two sentences in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Madhva Sampradaya Acharyas, Tumar Sampradaya. Just because he told Tumar means your Sampradaya. Your means we are different. So based on that word, so they have made a big philosophy saying that we are completely independent of the four Sampradayas. We have no connection with them. Our practices are different. To such an extent, they went to say that we have nothing to do with being Vedic. We have nothing to do with Varnashrama. But what you are. So in this way, you have a lot of people in Radhakund and many places here who are Gaudiyas, they practice Gaudiya principles, but when it comes to their connection to the four Sampradayas, they would not accept it. So for that we should know, as you are all great scholars, and you will be in the front line preaching and protecting the Siddhanta. See, organization is there, but organization is preaching the philosophy. And philosophy can be protected only by preaching. So protectors of dharma are very much important. Organization is the external feature of any sampradaya, but the core aspect is the philosophy. So the more you propagate, the more it is protected. If you don't study and then propagate it, then it cannot be preserved. Like many organizations, I don't want to name it, you know very well. They also have huge temples, they also have discipline, they have worship, all these things are there, which we cannot even imagine the kind of money what they have, the kind of organization they have. But there is no Siddhanta, there is no study of Siddhanta. If you go and ask them, what is your philosophy? They say, Gita, Bhagavad. That's all. Same, aapke jaisa hi. But what exactly you tell? No, we don't know. But they don't study. Even if they study, they just study some, Gita. But what is your philosophy? Tell? No, nobody knows. So in this way, only the externals remain. The core aspect of our Siddhanta will be forgotten. That is why we should know. So I am not going to go deep into the aspects of the four Sampradaya philosophies, their understanding of what is Brahman, their understanding of what is Jiva, what is relationship between Jiva and Brahman. They are very, very complicated for us to relish in the very first session itself. But we should know certain terminologies and what they actually mean, at least the meaning of it, if not in depth. So we all know there are four Vaishnava Sampradayas, Brahma, Rudra, Shri and Kumara. Now we should know Brahma Sampradaya is represented, all the four Sampradayas are represented in the age of Kali by four Acharyas. It is not that these four Acharyas started it. They are only the propagators. They are not the proponents. the Sampradaya as a line is eternally going in all the 14 planetary systems. It is not that only on the earth it is available, no. Even in the demigods, they also, in the higher planetary system also, these 4 Sampradayas are there. Because these 4 Sampradayas, the original Acharyas are Brahma. He is for the entire 14 planetary systems. Rudra is also for the 14 planetary systems. He is not just for earth. Shri and Kumara. So these are systems set up by Krishna. These 4 universities set up by Krishna with these four vice chancellors. They are the original eternal 4 vice chancellors. But in the age of Kali, these 4 acharyas came. For Brahma Sampradaya, Madhvacharya, Rudra, we have Vishnu Swami, and Shri, it is Ramanuja, and Kumara, it is Nimbarakacharya. Why these 4 acharyas were sent by Krishna? If you see their life stories, you will find there is a discussion which is happening between Narayana, Lakshmi and Narayana. And they call, when there was a huge trouble for all the demigods, because they could not see Maya was being spread. So then, they went, go and pray to Narayana, please do something. Narayana calls Vayu, and then Vayu folds his hands and says, yes, you are my dearmost servant. I want you to do some seva. And Vayu says, I know, you don't have to even tell what is the seva, I'll go and do that. So, it is even the same thing with Ananta. There, the prediction of how Ananta, who is glorifying Krishna, the qualities of Krishna. So there, the demigods, the Nityasuris, they pray to Narayana, saying that, you see, everybody is talking that you don't have any qualities. Actually, Ananta becomes angry. I am glorifying you, then Ananta has to come as Ramanuja. Like that every Sampradaya, they have their own Acharya story, that how they were all sent by Narayana in the age of Kali. Now question arises, why? Already 4 vice chancellors are there, why they had to come in the age of Kali? Because in the age of Kali, the irreligious principles, the irreligious philosophies or antagonistic philosophies, they become very organized. They become very organized. Like corporate, what does it mean? Organized way of atheism or sense gratification. So, for that, to counteract that organized way of spreading religion, you require organized way of spreading religion. Organized way. So, organization actually in religious field, in the philosophical field, started from these 4 acharyas. Earlier, if somebody wants to practice spiritual life, what they would do? Just go to the forest. Just go to the forest, and there is no mud, there is nothing. Just go to the forest. That's all. There is no organization. There is nothing like there is a guru and there is a matha. There is a donation. There is a receipt book. Nothing like that. So there was no matha at all. Just go to the forest, and you'll find some rishi, serve the rishi, and he gets some kandamula, some available, water is available, and then serve, get some knowledge, and then be happy and go back to God, depending on your sadhana and mercy of the Lord. So, but what happened, like slaughterhouse, is organized way of slaughtering animals. Earlier, people were slaughtering animals, but there was no slaughterhouse. Somebody used to just take the animals and slaughter and then sell to a few people. But having a big machine and all these things, it was not there. Organized way of religion was not there. So now, for that, the Lord desired that there should be organized way of religion. For that, we require an acharya. So they come and establish the mathas. They establish a philosophy, organize disciples, organize all the things, whatever is required for the propagation of the particular sampradaya. They give initiation, they give diksha, and then set up some rules and regulations. They write the smritis, separate smritis like that. So that is why these 4 sampradaya acharyas came. The reason is to organize their philosophy. When regarding Madhva, his guru, Madhva's spiritual master, that is Achyuta Preksha, his guru told him Originally from within their heart we are actually Vaishnavas. But somehow or other what to do? We cannot face the Advaita philosophy. They are very strong. That is why we are just hiding ourselves in the garb of Advaitists. So we'll say, oh, we are also Advaitists. We are also reading your books only. So they will not argue with us. That is why we are actually, from the heart, we are Vaishnavas. What to speak of that? The greatest Mayavadi at the time of Madhvacharya was Trivikramanita Acharya. So his father actually told him that what all I have taught you, even I am not convinced with it. I am not convinced with it. So I prayed, your mother actually prayed to both Hari and Hara. So in this way, you were born and your brother was born. So because of the mercy of Hara, Shankara was born, and he was brother of Trivikramanita Acharya. And because of the mercy of Hari, Trivikrama was born. So he named both of you. Now it is up to you. You are shocked. Whole life you have taught me something which you did not believe. Then by the time Trivikramanita Acharya's brother Shankara had already become a disciple of Madhvacharya, and he was a librarian of Madhvacharya. And Trivikramanita Acharya, he used to very stealthily read the books of Madhvacharya. Night 11 o'clock till morning 4 o'clock when everybody is sleeping. And when he read, he was completely amazed. See, this is the truth which we are hankering for. But still, there was an argument for 15 days between Madhvacharya and Trivikramanita Acharya. So now coming back to the point of these 4 Acharyas, we know these 4 Acharyas, that is names of 4 Sampradayas and 4 Acharyas. And we all should know by heart actually, because we are representing the philosophical regiment of ISKCON. Bhagavad Mahavidyalaya is what? It is a regiment of representing the philosophical regiment of ISKCON. There are so many devotees doing different kinds of preachings, but this group of devotees here, they are also soldiers, but they are special soldiers. They are like you have Air Force, you have Army, you have Navy. Within that also you have different things. You have artillery in Navy, you have that, tanks and all. So in ISKCON, when we are preaching, we also have a regiment of different devotees. There some would make life members, some would make congregation devotees. But this is the core, because we are representing the philosophical regiment of ISKCON. So we should know that. At least the names, the basic. That is why I'm just taking this class. So 4 Acharyas' names, you know, and 4 Sampradayas' names, 4 Acharyas' names. Then comes, you should know the names of their philosophy. Isn't it? Names of their philosophy. Interestingly, none of these 4 philosophies were named by the Sampradayika Acharyas. Madhva never told, my philosophy is Dvaita. Ramanuja never told, my philosophy is Vishishtadvaita. Nimbaraka never told, my philosophy is Dvaita Advaita. And Vishwaswami, he never told, my philosophy is Shuddha Advaita. He never told. It was later in their own line of Acharyas who ascribed. To such an extent, have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ever told that my philosophy is Chaitanya Achintya Veda Vedatva? No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not say. But we say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is Achintya Veda Vedatva, isn't it? Chaitanya never told this thing. It was revealed by Jiva Goswami for the first time in the Sandarbhas. So, these names of the philosophies, we should know, they are not given by the Acharyas by themselves, but they were ascribed to them. Now, Brahma, in the Madhva line, the philosophy is known as Dvaita philosophy. Now, this Dvaita philosophy is the natural ingredient of all the philosophies. It should be understood. It is not that other philosophies don't accept this thing. Everybody accepts this Dvaita, because without Dvaita, without the distinction between Ishvara and Jiva, there is no question of any bhakti. Because the common feature of all the Sampradayika Acharyas are bhakti. Vishnu is Supreme Lord. These are common tenets. Nobody disagrees with it. Of course, Ramanuja Sampradaya understanding of bhakti is different. Our understanding of bhakti is different. Nimbaraka's understanding of bhakti is different. When you go to Ramanuja, say, we are all doing bhakti. So bhakti is inferior, prapatti is superior. They would say that. Surrender is more important than bhakti. Because when they say bhakti, it is, understanding is different. When they say bhakti, they are just talking about the following the angas of bhakti. And the core principle of bhakti, even we say, that is surrender. Without surrender, chanting is not bhakti, hearing is not bhakti. Kriyate bhagavat yadha tad banyatam uttamam. Prahlad Maharaj says this thing. So we also have the same philosophy. But with the terminologies, understanding is different. So coming back to the point, Dvaita. So Ramanujas are also Dvaita. And Nimbaraka is also Dvaita. And Vishwaswami, they are also Dvaitist. But their philosophy is not Dvaita. And everybody has to accept this philosophy of Dvaita. So Dvaita. And then next is Brahma, Rudra. In the Rudra line, you have Vishwaswami. And Vishwaswami, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says there are three Vishwaswamis. One who appeared in many years back before Christ. One in the 8th century. One in the 15th century. The 15th century Vishwaswami is none other than Vallabhacharya. Even when you say, go and talk to Vallabhas, because I am very close to the Vallabhas, Gujaratis, Nadwara, Sri Krishna, Sharanamama, Jai Sri Krishna. So if you go and say, you belong to Rudra Sampradaya. No, we belong to Vallabha Sampradaya. They say, we belong to Vallabha. Then your Acharya is Vishwaswami. No, I don't know. Who is Vishwaswami? We know only Vallabha. Vallabha Adishaki Jai. They say that. While I was coming in the train, there are few Gujaratis who got into the train in Surat. They're simple businessmen and business ladies, very strong. Practically the whole compartment was filled with so much of saman. They came to Mathura to have parikrama. So they told, you're going to Vrindavan? No, we are not going to Vrindavan. We're going to Gokul. It's a special mood. You don't go to Vrindavan, go to Gokul. Then what else? Then they say, we want Yamuna. And all of a sudden they start singing Yamunashtakam. So nicely they sang. Religiously they sang. The Acharyas list, they have their part. All the Acharyas in their line, they sang the stuti to them. And 1008 names of Yamuna, they are all singing. So, because of the lack of study, of course the religiosity part is there, the bhakti part is there. Because of the lack of study, they don't know that they belong to the Sampradaya, and their Acharya, whose name is Vishwaswami, and Vishwaswami himself is reincarnated as Vallabha. So they have no idea. And their philosophy is known as Shuddhadvaita. Now, as much as Dvaita is the ingredient of all the four Sampradayas, even Shuddhadvaita is also the ingredient of four Sampradayas. How? What is the meaning of Shuddhadvaita? We should know the Shuddhadvaita means purified monoism. Shuddha means purified. Monoism means one. So the Vishwaswamis, they accept that the living entity and the Supreme Lord are distinct from each other. Dvaita is there. But at the same time they say the oneness is also there. But the oneness is not the way the oneness of Shankara. Shankara's oneness is that the living entity is God. Jiva Ishvara, Jiveshwaravada. Jiva is Ishvara. Now here the concept comes of Jiva is not Ishvara, but Jiva is Ishwaras. Ishwaras means belongs to. Belongs to. So that is where the Shuddhadvaita comes and then modifies the monoism in such a way that it establishes the Jiva. Jiva and Ishwaras. Like the famous statement of used by the Mayavadis from the Upanishads. Tat-tvamasi. Tat-tvamasi. Tat means the Supreme Lord. Tvam, you. Asi, you are that. Thou art that. Vivekananda statement, thou art that. No, we are not that. We are his. I am his. What do you say? Shashti Tatpurusha? If you use that word Shashti Tatpurusha Samasa, so it was Sripad Madhvacharya's famous thing. Why don't you use the Shashti Tatpurusha Samasa to explain this? Tasya Tvam Asi. So when you use that thing, Shashti Tatpurusha, you land up, I belong to him. I am Krishna's. I am not Krishna, I am Krishna's. So in that is why my Krishna, I am Krishna's. This thing comes in Vallabha's commentary so much. If you see Subodhini, 10th canto, if you read Vallabha's commentary on Subodhini, my Lord, again and again it comes. So many, every comment, every line, practically every purport, he says, our Lord, my Lord, we who belong to him. It spontaneously comes in that. Spontaneously. So we should know every philosophy which the Vaishnava Acharya established, it is actually reflecting in their commentaries, in their love for Krishna. So the philosophy is actually to support the mood in which they serve Krishna. Dvaita. In that Dvaita you find that how the Lord is, so Vibhu is Supreme Lord, I am just Anu. He is Vibhu and I am Anu. So when you hear Madhva's commentaries, you will find the glories of the Lord being spoken in such a way that I am just insignificant. I become so insignificant. Experience of that insignificance. So that is found in his commentaries. That is why you will find the majesty of the Lord being described by the Madhvas. At the same time, the insignificance of the jiva is described. You can perceive these things when you know this philosophy. Then comes to Ramanuja. In Ramanuja, his philosophy is known as Vishishtadvaita. Now, for that, we should know why what is the meaning of Vishishta. Vishishta means, comes from the word Vishesha. Vishesha means qualified monoism. One is purified monism, other is called qualified monism. What is the meaning of Vishesha, qualified monism? Because Ramanujacharya, he has a very special way of describing the Advaita. He says, yes, it is non-different, but non-difference in a difference. How? Non-difference in a difference. How? The Supreme Lord has the living entities and the world as his attributes, qualities. So as Caitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the living entities and the Supreme and this world, material world, as the Shakti of the Lord, Ramanuja accepted these two things as qualities. And Ramanuja says, since they are the qualities, and these qualities cannot be separated from the object. Qualities cannot be separated from the object. Like we all know, Prabhupada defines the word dharma. How does it define the word dharma? That attribute which cannot be separated from the object. Once you separate, the object is not an object at all. Ramanuja goes to the extent of saying that an object has its existence because of qualities. And the qualities are distinct from the object. At the same time, it cannot be separated. Since it cannot be separated, it is Advaita. But what kind of Advaita it is? Vishishta, qualified, because of the qualities. In this way, his philosophy is being named as Vishishtadvaita. Now comes the most interesting philosophy, which is very close to Gaudiya. That is what known as Bheda Bheda or Dvaita Advaita. Generally, Dvaita Advaita is used. And that is by the Nimbarakis. The Nimbaraka philosophy is very interesting. So this Nimbaraka philosophy, Dvaita Advaita, is also found in all the other three philosophies. That is the speciality of being Gaudiya, the speciality of studying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, the Prabhupada books, is that you can see that all the four philosophies are in all the four sampradayas. It is a fact. In all the four acharyas manifested one time or the other, some time or the other, spoke about the other philosophies too. Like I'll tell about the story of Madhvacharya. When did he speak about the Bheda Abheda? Once Sripad Madhvacharya was traveling, and we know when you become famous, naturally you will have more enemies. The more famous you are, the more enemies you have. This is the default. By default it happens. If you are not famous, you will not have don't have any enemies. If you are famous, then you are enemies. It is a natural law of this world. And his philosophy was becoming very, very famous. Many scholars were becoming his disciples. At that time, who was heading the Shankara Math in Sringeri, he just could not tolerate. And somebody told him that the source of all Madhva's strength is his books. So he told his followers, go and steal those books. Once books are not there, then all strength is gone. All strength is gone. Like somebody telling that the source of the strength, the source of all your knowledge is a laptop of a devotee. Steal the laptop. So, as if it's crazy. So he also taught the same thing. They stole the books. And Srila Jiva Goswami actually talks about the biggest library which anybody could have in the recent past was with Sripad Madhvacharya. And that library was not an ordinary library, it was a traveling library. And there were many bulls which was carrying the books of Madhvacharya and all the pramanas. And he had certain pramanas which were not found in this world. He quotes certain scriptures which are not found, the scriptures are not there. And it was carried by bulls, And one of the bull became the Tikacharya, Jayatirtha. One bull became Acharya just because carrying the books. I got inspired by that thing. So I carried a lot of books when I was working in the ship before I joined ISKCON. I had 2 bags. One small bag of clothes and whatever the thing is. And a big bag full of books. I got inspired. Let me carry these books. If not, read them. Just by carrying them also, just be a bull at least. Carry it around the world wherever the ship went. So, in this way, the books were stolen. Then Madhvacharya thought, what is the use of going and trying to do? He just informed the king. And the king got the books back, and in return he told, please come to our assembly. Then he came. Madhvacharya, he came. Just imagine the kings at that time, they had so much of philosophical outlook. Even though they were kings, they were doing administration. He asked Madhva, saying that you are preaching a new philosophy, Dvaita. I have a question. The question is, in the scriptures, the Supreme Lord is also addressed as Brahman, and the living entity is also addressed as Brahman. Now, how can you say there is a difference because one name is being used to both? Only one name has been used to both, so it should be both same. Then only one name is being used. Otherwise, it should have been different. So then, Madhva, he says, because at that time people's intelligence were very gross, and he was a Kshatriya too, and many other people were sitting, the queens were there, and other people were there. So he wanted to practically demonstrate with a PPT. So he asked the king to get one coconut. The full coconut was brought, the dried up coconut. So he showed the king, what is this? Coconut. And he removed the peels. And he had the peels, the coconut. He asked, what is this? Peels. What is this? Coconut. Then he broke the coconut. And Madhva asked, what is this? The king, he asked the king, peels. This is shell. This is coconut. When all the 3 things are together, you told coconut. But at the same time, there are 3 things here. Isn't there? There's coconut, the shell, and the peel. So just see, even Madhva spoke about the Abheda, Abheda. He showed him. So the Abheda is also there. Abheda is also there. Now coming back to the Ramanuja. Ramanuja's they have a very unique way of explaining the scriptures. Because some Upanishads, they talk about, some Shrutis, Upanishads talk about Bheda. Some Shrutis talk about Abheda. We all know this thing. And it is only in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, they say there is a third kind of Shrutis called Ghataka Shruti. No other Sampradaya talks about Ghataka Shruti. Though we are Achintya Bheda Bheda, the word Ghataka Shruti has not been used by our Acharyas. Ghataka Shruti means that which says that both Bheda and Abheda are true. There are some Shrutis which actually talk about Bheda, Abheda, Tattva. Just the Ramanuja Sampradaya identifying the Shrutis of our philosophy. And there's a big commentary on that by Pillai Lokacharya and so many people. So why I'm talking about this? Because as much as all the four philosophies are in all the four sampradayas, there is one thing that is Achintya Bheda Abheda, which is there in all the four philosophies as a prominent feature. Because it is Caitanya Mahaprabhu who has given these four philosophies, and he would not give something different from what he is going to give in future. All the four acharyas met Caitanya, and Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave them the philosophy. What else he can give other than Achintya Bheda Bheda? But he gave it in a way by which they can propound a philosophy by which two things are achieved. Number one, a particular aspect of Mayavad is defeated. Nirvisheshavad, if you want to defeat the Nirvisheshavad, Ramanuja philosophy is the best. Jiveshwarvad, then Dvaita has to be studied. Like you have four pillars, you have to you have Mayavad structure, and you have four pillars. You have to completely destroy it. What do you require? You require 4 bombs, isn't it? Tied at the 4 pillars, 4 bases. So these 4 philosophies are like that, to destroy one aspect of the philosophy, of the Mayavad philosophy. These 4 things are used, and we have they use this word. The Mayavadis have this one more thing. Mayavada, Mayavada means to consider Ishvara as a product of Maya. And for that, what do you use? You have to use Dvaita Advaitavad. The Mayavad is Khandana, is done by Dvaita Advaitavad. Jiveshwar was done by Dvaita. Nirvisheshwas was done by Ramanuja. Like that, every philosophy, which the 4 philosophies are there to destroy a particular aspect of Mayavad. This is one purpose, the secondary purpose. And the primary purpose is what? To establish a particular kind of rasa with Krishna. Balam Neelamanin. Krishna is Neelamani, a mani, blue sapphire. You keep money. I ask you to describe it, you will describe in particular way. If you ask you to describe, you will describe in particular way. Because the same money is reflecting the light in a different way. So Krishna being unlimited, and he's rasa, he is raso vaisaha, labdvanandi bhavati, raso vaisaha. So this Krishna has multifarious rasas, and to nourish that rasa you require 4 kinds of philosophies. That these are the 2 purposes of these 4 systems of philosophy. Now, question arises, if Caitanya Mahaprabhu has already given Bheda Abheda or Dvaita Advaita, what is the difference between the Nimbarakis and our Gaudiya? Now, this is a very subtle thing. To such an extent, there was a court case put by the Nimbarakis that you are speaking the same philosophy as ours, just by changing the name from Dvaita Advaita to Bheda Bheda. Actually, both are same. And also you worship Radha Krishna, we also worship Radha Krishna. Then they went to the court to say that these all Gaudiyas belong to our Sampradaya. Shri Ji. Wherever you find Shri Ji Mandir, they are all Nimbarakis. And a very powerful Sampradaya once upon a time. Of course, in the recent past 30-40 years, they lost their ground. But very powerful, Param Vairagis, and the way kind of worship of Radha Krishna they do. Practically, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Vaishnavism was there just because of these Nimbarakis. Very powerful preachers, and the kind of raga, like kind of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna they speak. We don't, Gaudiyas we don't speak that kind of intimate pastimes of Radha Krishna they speak. Very authentic, very wonderful. So now they wrote, and why are you calling yourself different? Practically, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, whatever Vrindavan was at the time, whatever pastimes of Radha and Krishna, whatever was there, it was all because of the Nimbarakis. They were preserving these kunjas and the kunjas and meditating on Radha and Krishna. They have their Nimbarakis, they have their Nimbaraka. They have their mutt here only. From Govardhan, if you go to Barsana, on the way you got Nimbagram. That is where Nimbaditya, he got his name. The story, famous story, all of you know that story. That the neem tree, behind the neem tree, he shows Arka, the sun. He's an incarnation of Sudarshana. And personally, Radharani gave one Shaligram Shila to Narada, and the Narada gave it to the 4 Kumaras. And that was still worshipped. About a couple of centuries back, they shifted their base from Nimbagram here. At that time, because he appeared, Nimbarka, he appeared around 5,000 years back. It is not just recent thing. At that time, Govardhan was very big. In the Badi Parikrama mark it is there. So it is described that they were living in the foothills of Govardhan. Now it is very far. The big parikrama is actually the parikrama which was there during Krishna's time. Now we are very close because Govardhan goes down. They were worshippers of Govardhan. 200 years back they shifted their base because of some reasons. Because there is one place called Salaimabad. If you go to Rajasthan, there is one place called Kishangarh. From Jaipur, when you go down to Udaipur, on the way in the central before Ajmer, there is one place called Kishangarh, famous for marbles. And from Kishangarh, if you go to Makarana, on the way to Makarana, you must have heard. There's a place you get the marbles. So on the way, you get this big board, Nimbarka Acharya Mahasansthan, Jagat Guru Nimbarka Acharya Mahasansthan. So when we are building the Mira Road temple, at the time I was to go to Makarana practically every month. That's another story. But I used to see this board, and once I just stopped everyone and said, "You want to go wherever, I want to go there." So they had to. So I went there. Then so fortunate to have the darshan of the Shaligram Shila. Radha Sarveshwaro Vichayate. You must have seen many boards written. Radha Sarveshwaro Vichayate. And Nimbarga Dashashloki. All are written on the board. Beautiful. I was in ecstasy seeing those because very less information is available about Nimbargas on the net. Madhvas and Shivaishas are very expert. They put everything on the net. But Vallabhas are a little bit doing good, but not the Nimbarakis. They are Param Virakta Sampradaya. So less books are available on the internet and all. So I got a lot of books there, and the kind of Radha Krishna Giti they have got, the kind of artis they sing. And they even claim the original deity worshipped by Jayadev Goswami, Radha Madhav, is in Salaimabad. What deities are there? Beautiful deities. And they have Gurukul, Sanskrit Gurukul, and I spoke to a few of them. They speak in Sanskrit, and they just one person had actually practically memorized Parijata Saurabha. Parijata. He memorized the entire Vedanta Sutra commentary. Shocked. Such people are existing on this planet. I could realize. It's a small village, and they just live with the cows, and then they have Sanskrit school. Simple worship. Early morning, if you go there, 7:30, you can have the darshan of the smallest Shaligram Shila on the planet. It's small, just so small. And there are two small lines like that. There's one Radha and Krishna. And now they put a court case Nimbarkis. Then Gaudiya Mutt, they wrote a letter in Sanskrit refuting, saying that how we are different. Based on that verse, Anarpita Charim Chirat Karanayavatirna Karo. So he wrote about the distinction, the mood in which we worship Radha and Krishna. The mood in which we worship Radha and Krishna is distinct from the mood in which you worship Radha and Krishna. Because you worship Radha and Krishna thinking that you are near Radha and Krishna and you are participating in the pastime of Radha and Krishna. But our mood is not to participate in the pastime. Our mood is to serve and enable the pastimes of Krishna to happen. To make just the arrangements and stay far and see Radha and Krishna and the Sakhis, they are with Krishna. So ours is a Manjari Bhav. So then they withdraw the court case because they were intelligent. They drew it. We should learn. We should withdraw the court case, to know that why you are fighting among yourself. Why go to the court? They are intelligent people. They just withdrew the court case. No, yes, it is true. So they accepted separate. So in this way, philosophically speaking, also there is a distinction. In every philosophy, though they are absolutely correct, it cannot answer all the questions. When a philosophy is not able to answer all the questions, then it is considered to be a flaw. You see, when there is a defect, when you say defect in the four philosophies, the defect is not because there is something wrong in it. It is because of, we cannot even say incomplete because it is describing the absolute. We say there are certain questions which cannot be answered thoroughly. Some questions cannot be answered thoroughly. Like if you take the Nimbaraka philosophy, their philosophy is known as Kevala Dvaita Dvaita. Kevala. Simple Kevala Dvaita Advaita. There is distinction, Dvaita, and there is oneness. And famous statement what we say, whatever the Lord has, we also have, but qualitative oneness, quantitative difference. Now, what all the Lord has in great quantity, we have in a small quantity, isn't it? Whatever we have in small quantity, the Lord has in big quantity. So then the question is, we have ignorance in small quantity. Does the Lord have it in big quantity? Because if you accept this philosophy of Kevala Dvaita Advaita, then we land up into this problem. We land up into this problem, then we have how are we will answer this thing? So the only word which can actually solve this problem is Achintya. So that is why the word Achintya, Veda Abheda Tattva has been established by Sri Caitanya. Now, if you take Madhva, Dvaita. So now when you say two independent, two different realities, though Sripad Madhvacharya, he says, though there are two different independent realities, one is Swatantra, other is Paratantra. Of course, many of the modern philosophers, they cannot understand this thing because they say Dvaita means they say two independent realities. How can two independent realities coexist? All this thing, they gave a big commentary on it. But still the question remains always. That I'll talk about it later. Now, to explain this Dvaita, Sripad Madhvacharya uses one more terminology known as Bimba Partibimbavada. He uses the word Bimba Partibimba. Bimba means what? The object. Partibimba means the reflection. Object and the reflection. Like you stand in front of a mirror. When will the object in the mirror raise the hand? When you raise it. So we are reflection. Krishna is the Bimba. I lifted the hand. Actually, who lifted? Krishna. Until unless Krishna lifts the hand, you cannot lift the hand. Until unless Krishna sees, you cannot see. Until unless Krishna speaks, you cannot speak. Actually, it is he is speaking. So, he explains how the living entity is so paratantra. That even what to speak of even activity of lifting handle, even breathing. Krishna is breathing, that is why we are able to breathe. So even though the philosophy is Dvaita, the kind of dependence is actually Advaita. The kind of dependence what the Jiva has on the living, the Supreme Lord, if you see that thing, is Advaita. But still, since you say it is Dvaita, the living entity and the Supreme Lord, where did this distinction came from? How did it arise? Though it may be eternal, but calling a living entity a completely independent unit, an independent reality, not a unit, independent reality, it cannot explain certain things of the passages of the Upanishads. So then the Achintya Bheda Abheda has to come into picture. It is only Achintya Bheda Veda philosophy which can solve the problems or the incompleteness or whatever you may say, certain things which cannot be explained by the other philosophies. So those who actually study Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, for them it is very easy to understand all the other four philosophies. They are not very too complicated or something. If you just apply your mind, you can study them. For that we should see that they are not different from us. They are there only to support us. Actually, you can find Achintya Veda Vidatva in all the four systems of philosophy. When it comes to Ramanuja, he talks about Vishishtadvaita. And to clarify that thing, he gives an example of Sharira Shariri. Sharira Shariri. There is Sharira, body, and Shariri means indwelt of the body. In the same way, the Supreme God, Lord, is the Shariri, and the souls and this material world, what you see, is the Sharira. They are actually one in unit. But still, one is the Adhara, other is the Adheya. Adhara means what? The base or the sustenance. And Adheya means what? And the thing which is being sustained. Sharira, Sharirika, Adhara, Adheya, Sesha and Seshi. So these are the certain terms used by Ramanuja to explain, even though there is oneness, but actually there is difference. In this way, we have certain discussion just till now when we had. And most importantly, we should all, these four acharyas were participated in the Chaitanya Leela. Ramanuja came as Sri Ananta, got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lakshmi Priya married. And Madhva came as Murari Gupta, Hanuman. And Nimbaraka, he came as Keshav, Kashmiri. And of course Vishwaswami came as Vallabha. Twice they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Interestingly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation in the line of Madhva to show some special mercy because of Madhva's Mayavad Khandan. And it's all interesting that all of you should know, practically memorize. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 2 points to all these four acharyas, and he took 2 points back from them. So what are the 2 points? We know to Madhva he gave the Vigraha Satyakurimani, means Vigrahas are not different from Krishna himself. Number 2, Mayavad Khandan. And to Sri Sampradaya, he gave Shuddha Bhakti, Jnana Karma Anavritam, that Bhakti. And Vaishnava Seva, these 2 things you find very much. Ramanuja, during the last instructions, last 74 instructions he gave, practically 30 instructions are based on Vaishnava Seva only. And very interesting, which I found there was, if somebody is more interested in serving the spiritual master than his god brothers, he'll go to hell. What a powerful statement. Somebody is interested in serving the spiritual, more interested in serving the spiritual master than his god brothers. Hey, he's only god brother, I want to serve my spiritual master. Neglect your god brother. So he's go to hell. So such a powerful statement. When Guru Maharaj comes, oh Guru Maharaj, what about his assistant? He has eaten or not, drunk or not, we don't even ask. So Very certain things are so wonderful there in those instructions. Vaishnava Seva, these 2 points. And Madhva, Ramanuja, Nimbaraka, 2 points. Radha Krishna as the highest worshipable deity. And number 2 is Raga Bhakti. No, following the footsteps of the gopis. These 2 points were given to Nimbaraka, and again he has taken it back. And Vishnu Swami, Raga Bhakti, number 1. And the other one is to complete dependence on the Lord. Pushti Marga. Pushti means I get all the strength on the Lord. Marg means I complete dependence on the Lord. And I attain the Lord in the Raga Marga. Here in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, while talking about Raga Bhakti, Raga Anuga Bhakti, so Rupa Goswami says, some people call this Raga Anuga Bhakti as Pushti Marga. Some people call this Raga Anuga Bhakti as Pushti Marga. And if you want to see what is Raga Bhakti, you have to go to some Vallabha Sampradaya followers' house. Especially the old ladies, when they worship Krishna, their Lala. You go to their house around, say, noon time, and you speak little bit loudly, Lala so hai. They don't even, what to speak of, they don't even spare their bahus and other people also. Children also, they don't spare. They just cannot speak loudly. After the Lala goes to rest around 11 o'clock, their whole morning till evening worship, whatever we follow, it is over by 11 o'clock. Waking up, Dantamanjan, feeding, Rajbhog, Balbhog, all bhogas, everything, 11 o'clock it's over. By 10, 11 o'clock it's all over. Morning 5 to 11 they finish it off. And then he goes to sleep. And after that, just cannot make any sound. Just cannot make any sound. Their mood is very, very unique. The raga which they have. They follow all the vidhi, but the spontaneity which they have is inconceivable. Vallabhas. So 2 things he gave, Raga Bhakti, and other one is complete dependence on the Lord, Pushti Marga. So this is how Caitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is actually based on these 4 Sampradayic Acharyas' philosophy, which he originally gave them. And of course, we have some uniqueness. The uniqueness is, we all know that. That is why I don't want to speak. Considering Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Of course, this uniqueness is not that the other sampradayas don't have it. They have it, but they don't openly speak about it. Krishna is, the demons killed by Krishna, only those demons are liberated. It's a fact. All acharyas accept it, but they don't properly, profoundly talk about it. It is not that these things are not known or not there in the sampradayas. It is there. Even the Madhva, it is there. When I spoke to one Madhva Swamiji, saying, yes, only when Krishna touches the body, demon gets liberation. Hey, they are scholar people. They told when Ram killed Ravana, he did not get liberated. He told me that. Puthukirman Swamiji told that. I thought, I wanted to speak something of our uniqueness, our Gaudiya. But only thing, they don't propagate it, that's all. Acceptance is there. Vraja Gopis, following the footsteps of the Gopis. And who doesn't know that? The kind of devotion that the Vraja Gopis have for Krishna, it is unparalleled, because Bhagavat is Praman. And they are reading the Bhagavatam, they are studying the Bhagavatam. So in this way, we have a very unique opportunity, an amalgamation of the 4 Vaishnava philosophies and the 4 Acharyas. This is what I thought of speaking to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, just one clarification. Thank you very much for wonderfully enlightened us. All the 4 sampradayas, and at present day and age, we see there are some extension or kind of sakha, like from Sri Ramanandi and from Madhva Gaudiyas. So they are all, what is their sakha, you can say?
Yeah, every sampradaya will have apasampradaya. Every sampradaya will have a apasampradaya. Natural. When those don't study the Siddhanta, this is what happens. When you don't study the Siddhanta, then you branch out. Of course, not all the branches become apasampradayas. There may be some differences which may not be antagonistic to philosophy. When you're specifically talking about the Ramanandi. The Ramanandi, original Ramanandi, got initiated in the Sri Sampradaya, and he was a North Indian. He came to North India. Then he propagated the Sri Sampradaya very perfectly. Later on, when the Siddhanta study was not there, and your connection with the root is not there. Root is Ramanuja. So they started considering Ramanandi as the whole and soul of our Sampradaya. And neither they really studied the Divya Prabandhas later on. What happened? They got association with the Natha Pantha. The Natha Panthas, they don't have a philosophy. They are dry Vairagis, the Nathas, Natha Panthas, Navanaths. One of the Yogi Adityanath, he belongs to one of the lines there. Goraknath, one of the Panthas. They are dry renunciates. So dry renunciation is a very is not favorable for Vaishnavism. That is what Bhagavatam says. Neither you should be too detached, neither too attached. Because dry renunciation will make you not relish the rasa. And also, one day you become immersed in impersonalism. So, in this way, the practices of impersonalism, not the philosophy, practice of impersonalism sneaked into Ramanandi. Having this kind of jata, this and that kind. These all, they are not Sri Vaishnava practices. Have you ever seen Sri Vaishnava with a jata? You have not seen that. But Ramanandi, they have it because Natha Pantha's association is very strong. Of course, they lost connection with the Divya Prabandhas, the Alvars, and Ramanuja, and the study. So in this way, they were mostly surrounded around Ayodhya. And one of the acharyas in their line after Ramanandi was from Ayodhya, and he was a worshipper of Ram Lala. But worshipping of the childhood form of Ram is only meant for Ayodhya. It is not meant for other places. It is not a Pancharatric deity. It is the mood in which the Ayodhya Vasis worship Lord Ram, but that cannot be standardized everywhere. Because he started worshipping, everybody started worshipping Balram, Ram Lala. So in this way there was a deviation. And later on another deviation. Once you have deviation, the deviation becomes Sampradaya. Once you deviate, like you have Prabhupada ISKCON. Somebody brought a philosophy called Ritvik and deviated. And then what happens? Deviation becomes the norm. In that you have another deviation. You find so many. How many? You know, South Indians know very, very well about it. Everybody becomes Acharya. Isn't it? Not one, so many. Because you have set a trend of deviation. So what happened later on? One more person came. He's a great saint, great yogi. He was Sahajananda Swami. Then he started. Great, of course, he was very well learned, and he learned the Shiva Vaishnava philosophy, went to Sri Rangam, went to Tirukodur, and then he learned. And he came and he found Gujarat is a very favorable place and for propagating. And many people, he got many followers because of his tapasya, and especially many of those who are not satisfied with the Pushti Margi acharyas who went into sense enjoyment. The moment acharyas they go into sense enjoyment, then the followers becomes disinterested. So he got a lot of Pushti Margis as his followers, and then because he was a great saint and he was very vairagi, very strict in his practices, he got many followers, and he taught them that we are the followers of Ramanuja, and he gave Sikshapatri to them, saying that we are followers of Ramanuja. Our philosophy is Vishishtadvaita. He says, he writes that. But just one generation after that, Yogi Maharaj, gone. Nobody studied. They are all interested in building temples now. And they give lectures, a lot of followers, very intelligent people come and join. The kind of money they have, the kind of administration they have, the kind of discipline they have, the kind of prasad they have, is unimaginable. But the kind of study they have, nobody can. Our new devotee is better. New devotee is better. If you ask what is philosophy of Samana, Akshardham. Avyakto aksharityuktastamahum. They took that word. It's actually Golok Dham only. Vaikuntha only. They created another Dham. Just imagine how can a jiva has the capacity to create a spiritual world. They cannot create a material world. They made a separate spiritual world for followers of them. Actually, he's talking about Vaikuntha, isn't it? They made this is a Samadar Vaikuntha called Akshardham. And he says, we are followers of Ramanuja. No, none of the Ramanujas talk about this. I gave a class, 3 days class on Sikshapatri to all the Gujaratis. हमको मालूम नहीं था. हमको मालूम रोज पढ़ते तो मालूम नहीं. Daily they read. Every day that lady reads. In whose house I took. Sikshapatri reads. And आज मालूम पड़ा हम रामानुजाचार्य के follower है. Then I told you know who is Ramanujacharya? No. Have you ever asked who is Ramanuja? Then I'll tell. Then again I took a 1 hour class on Ramanuja. They are all happy about it. So Apasampradayas happened.
So Sahajananda Swami was not a Ramanandi.
He took initiation in the line of Ramanandi and he found truth because he is intelligent. He's a great sadhu. He's a learned person. He's had mystical powers also. So he went to south, found his roots, learned the philosophy, learned the Sampradayic principles, and he came to Gujarat and established it.
So he was
Pakka, Vaishnava.
But then he learned original philosophy.
Yes, he learned. And he came and established. And otherwise, why he should write in Sikshapatri all these things? He saw those circumstances there. See, every Acharya has a right to create a smriti for his followers. That smriti means the process of code of conduct of his disciples, so that you can practice your philosophy. See, this philosophy is different and the code of conduct of life is different. There are two different aspects. So the code of conduct, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is for the Gaudiyas. Nityanasandana is for the Madhvas. Like the Sikshapatri is for the... He has the right to do that. But Sahajananda Swami is a perfect Vaishnava. And he... Otherwise, why he should write in the Sikshapatri that we are followers of Ramanuja?